So we start off with paying respects, bowing to the Buddha 3 times. First bow, second bow, third bow. Okay, homage. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. 3 refuges. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Sanghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi Sanghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi Sanghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. And the 5 precepts. Pāṇātipada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Adinādāna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Kāmesu micchācāra veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Musāvāda veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Surameraya majjapama datthāna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so good evening. Tonight we're continuing this series, Enlightenment of the Buddha. I think we've covered about the eve of enlightenment, about him recalling his past lives and etc. So today we'll talk on the specifics of what kind of meditation technique he's using. Yeah, so we covered this already, huh? Okay, so it talks about seeing his past lives, right? And he sort of, that's the first knowledge they attained. First knowledge. Okay, next. Okay, so now we're going to talk about other beings. When the mind was thus concentrated, purified, bright, unblemished, rid of defilements, pliant, malleable, steady, and attained to imperturbability, I directed it to the knowledge of the passing away and reappearance of beings. I saw by means of the divine eye, purified and surpassing the human, beings passing away and reappearing. And I discern how they are inferior and superior, beautiful and ugly, fortunate and unfortunate, in accordance with their karma. These beings who were endowed with bad conduct of body, speech, and mind, reviled the noble ones, held wrong views, and undertook actions under the influence of wrong views. With the breakup of the body, after death, have reappeared in a plane of deprivation, a bad destination, a lower realm, hell. So he looked at his own past lives first. In the previous lesson, we talked about it. So now he did a comparison with other beings, and he saw the similar pattern. Yeah. Okay, next slide. So the opposite, but these beings who were endowed with good conduct of body, speech, and mind, who did not revile the noble ones, who held right views and undertook actions under the influence of right views with the breakup of the body after death, have reappeared in a good destinations, a heavenly world. Thus, by means of the divine eye, purified and surpassing the human, I saw beings passing away and reappearing, and I discern how they are inferior and superior, beautiful and ugly, fortunate and unfortunate in accordance with their karma. So you can see this is the stock formula. When I talk about I saw beings passing and reappearing, is kind of repetitive. Okay, then this was the second knowledge I attained in the second watch of the night. Ignorance was destroyed, knowledge arose, darkness was destroyed, light arose, as happens in the one who is heedful, ardent, and resolute. So this is the second watch, still not fully enlightened yet. So now we are going to move on to the third watch. Okay, when the mind was thus concentrated, purified, bright, unblemished, rid of defilement, pliant, malleable, steady, and attained to imperturbability, I directed it to the knowledge of the ending of mental effluence. So this is ending of defilements. So seeing past life itself doesn't necessarily end defilements. Yeah, seeing past life doesn't end defilements. So now he's going to look at how to end the defilements. Probably when you look into the past life, he's trying to figure out solutions and sort of cannot find, right? So now he need to overcome this good and bad karmas, or transcend these karmas. I discerned as it had come to be that this is stress. This is the first noble truth. This is the origination of stress, second noble truth. This is the cessation of stress, third noble truth. This is the way leading to the cessation of stress, fourth noble truth. So it's able to eventually figure out the four noble truths. These are effluence. This is the origination of effluence. This is the cessation of effluence. So effluence is something like defilement. Yeah? This is the way leading to the cessation of effluence. Yeah? So four noble truth with regard to overcoming defilements. Okay, next. My heart, thus knowing, thus seeing, was released from the effluent of sensuality, released from the effluent of becoming, released from the effluent of ignorance. With release, there was the knowledge. Released, I discerned that birth is ended, the holy life fulfilled, the task done. There is nothing further for the world. Okay, so this is the true enlightenment where he finished his task and he's released, and he said birth is ended. So this is the the third watch of the night. This was the third knowledge I attained in the third watch of the night. Ignorance was destroyed, knowledge arose, darkness was destroyed, light arose as happened in one who is heedful, ardent, and resolute. But the pleasant feeling that arose in this way did not invade my mind or remain. So enlightenment has a pleasant feeling. Yeah, enlightenment has a pleasant feeling. But then his mind is still calm. So if you look at the last paragraph, you see a common trend. They repeat this stock formula. Ignorance was destroyed, knowledge arose. Darkness destroyed, and light arose. So this happened to the first two watch of the night also, when he saw his past lives and saw other beings' past lives. But that was not the true enlightenment, only at the third watch. So what is that ignorance? So it's, I would say, mundane ignorance, not the supramundane kind of ignorance that we are kind of familiar. So in Buddhism, when we talk about the 10 fetters, Fetters, the 10 kind of defilements, ignorance can only be overcome by an enlightened being, an arahant or a Buddha. So in this case, only at the third watch of the night, then they truly overcome this ignorance with regard to the Four Noble Truths. So ignorance can be used in many contexts. I'm ignorant about, I don't know, the political situation in Myanmar, for example, or I'm ignorant of the stock market. Yeah, so ignorance can be used in many ways. So probably the first two watch of the night, it has to deal with the ignorance of karma and past lives. So it has nothing to do with liberation. So it's only the third watch where he truly understood the Four Noble Truths and he overcome this ignorance of the Four Noble Truths. Okay, next. Okay, so this is the, we call it meditation technique, which the Buddha used. We said Buddha used the breath meditation because earlier on, they never mentioned, right? They just talk about the Buddha, you know, reaching the jhanas and able to see past lives. But what is the process of detachment? Process of detachment. So I'll talk about the same sutta which we use in the meditation course, this Dipa Sutta. So I'll just read out. This is how concentration through mindfulness of in and out breathing is developed and pursued so as to be of great fruit, great benefit. I myself, monks, before my awakening, when I was still an unawakened bodhisattva, often dwelt in this meditative dwelling. So the Buddha mentioned he specializes in the breath meditation. If a monk should wish, may I, quite secluded from sensuality, secluded from unskillful qualities, enter and remain in the first jhana. Right? So then I want to copy and paste the whole sutta. And it carries on the second jhana, the third, the fourth, and so on, all the way until the highest level of concentration called the neither perception or non-perception. And beyond that, if a monk should wish, may I, with the complete transcending of the dimension of neither perception nor non-perception, enter and remain in the cessation of perception and feeling, then you should attend closely to this very same concentration through mindfulness of in and out breathing. So the Buddha reached enlightenment through the breath, doing all the levels of concentration and transcending them. And we call this cessation, cessation of perception and feeling. That means he's gone beyond this neither perception nor non-perception. So in the previous lessons, we talked about the ascetic Gautama learning from this teacher called Uddaka Ramaputta, which taught him this neither perception nor non-perception, but not yet enlightened. So it is only through him discovering how to enter the level-to-level concentration, which he eventually able to let go of this neither perception nor non-perception, which is the so-called cessation. Yeah. Okay. Next. Okay. So to have a comparison, there is another sutta to compare to to kind of find out the trajectory. We have this Tapusa Sutta, which is kind of similar to this Dipa Sutta. So it is Ananda. So it is even I myself, before my self-awakening, when I was still an unawakened bodhisattva, thought renunciation is good, seclusion is good. So at a later time, having seen the drawback of sensual pleasures, I pursued the theme. Having understood the reward of renunciation, I familiarized myself with it. My heart leaped up at renunciation, grew confident, steadfast, and firm, seeing it as peace, and quite secluded from sensuality, secluded from unskillful qualities, I entered and remained in the first jhana. So similar formula for the second, third, fourth, all the way to the highest level of concentration. There's neither perception nor non-perception. So at a later time, having seen the drawback of this dimension of neither perception nor non-perception, I pursued that theme, having understood the reward of cessation of perception and feeling. So he transcended this neither perception or non-perception through renunciation. So it is through the letting go of the mind. So this one is probably hardly talked about in the breath meditation. So in the so-called 16 steps of breath meditation, I think step 12, there is this thing called releasing the mind. Yeah? So releasing the mind is actually this renunciation. You let go of the mind. It will so-called evolve and go to this next level of concentration. So so it's confirmed by these two suttas. Yeah? Okay, next. Ananda, as long as I had not attained and emerged from these 9 step-by-step dwelling attainments in forward and backward order in this way. Okay, so this 9 step-by-step is actually talking about the first jhana, all the 8 levels of concentration, including the cessation. So we call this 9 steps. So what are the first 4? That's the first 4 form concentration, first jhana, second jhana, third, fourth jhana. And the 5th one is called perception of infinite space. The 6th one, perception of infinite consciousness. Number 7 is this realm of nothingness. And number 8 is neither perception nor non-perception. So the last 4 are the formless concentrations. So together, transcending this neither perception or non-perception, cessation is the 9th step. Right? So from these 9 step-by-step dwelling attainments in forward and backward order. So the Buddha actually went from 1st to 9 and 9 to 1. So this is his like routine. And he also did that when he passed away. Yeah, during the Mahaparinibbana Sutta, he kind of did this routine, 1st to 9, 9 to 1, 1 to 4, then he passed away to Parinibbana. Okay, I did not claim to have directly awakened to the rightly self-awakening, unexcelled in the cosmos with its devas, maras, and brahmas, in this generation with its contemplatives and brahmans, its royalty and common folk. But as soon as I had attained and emerged from these 9 step-by-step dwelling attainments in forward and backward order in this way, then I did claim to have directly awakened to the right self-awakening unexcelled in the cosmos with its devas, maras, and brahmas, in this generation of its contemplatives and brahmans, its royalty and common folk. Knowledge and vision arose in me. Unprovoked is my release. This is the last birth. There is now no further becoming. So this is how the Buddha reached enlightenment, through entering all these jhanas. But earlier on, when we talk about the noble search, the sutta on the noble search, the Buddha cannot stop halfway at the 4th jhana and look at past lives. So he didn't add that in. So at the 3rd watch of the night, when he kind of discovered the 4 noble truths, it's by entering the 4 formless concentrations and transcending the highest formless concentration, where he's kind of discovered the 4 noble truths. So that's the Buddha's way of doing it. So the so-called insight, knowledge that he has, is this so-called knowledge and vision of release. Yeah, so probably after he attained enlightenment, then he taught the 6 sense basis kind of insight. Okay, next. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Mara. Yeah, because these suttas, they kind of describe one aspect, one angle at a time. They don't describe the full picture. So while the Buddha was doing jhanas, this Mara also came. So Mara is the demon, or we call it the evil one in Buddhism. To me, resolute in exertion near the river Naranjara, making a great effort, doing jhana to attain rest from the yoke. So yoke would be like the we call unifying the mind, like yoke. Yeah. Namuchi. So Namuchi is another name of Mara. Namuchi came, speaking words of compassion. You are ashen, thin. Death is in your presence. Death has 1,000 parts of you. Only one part is your life. Live, good sir. Life is better. Alive, you can do acts of merit. You're living the holy life, performing the fire sacrifice. You'll heap up much merit. What use is exertion to you? Hard to follow the path of exertion. Hard to do, hard to sustain. So at this point of time, we said the Bodhisattva Gautama was gambling everything on these jhanas, how to enter this level by level jhanas, because all other methods sort of didn't work. So he was like putting everything in. So he kind of made a vow also to kind of fast at that time. So we'll talk about it later. So he was very skinny, about to die. And this Mara told him, yeah, don't push yourself further. What's the point, right? Why don't you go back and lead the happy life as a prince? Then once in a while, just perform some rituals and religious rituals and make merit. So that's Mara's kind of temptation, temptation from Mara. Okay, next. The Blessed One said this, kinsman of the heedless, evil one, come here for whatever purpose. I haven't for merit even the least bit of need. So the Buddha believed, he doesn't need all these worldly kind of merit. What he's doing now is aiming for the highest. Yeah. In me are conviction, austerity, persistence, discernment. Why, when I'm so resolute, do you petition me to live? This wind could burn up even river currents. Why, when I'm resolute, shouldn't my blood dry away? As my blood dries up, gall and phlegm dry up. As muscles waste away, the mind grows clear. Clearer. Mindfulness, discernment, concentration stand more firm. Staying in this way, attaining the ultimate feeling, the mind has no interest in sensual passions. So the Buddha made the vow, right? Last ditch attempt to not leave from his seat until he reached enlightenment. So that's why I talk about the blood drying away, the muscles waste away, and so on. So some people they only read this particular so-called aspiration or this vow and take it out of context. So they believe, okay, only fasting is the way forward. So they fast and they do not know the technique. Whereas in this particular context, the Buddha is he knows the technique. He's sort of putting all his bet on this technique, right? So there's something to rely on, right? So do not try until you know this technique very well. Okay, next. Okay, sensual passions are your first army. So normally, if you look at a previous picture, normally we think that Mara and send his soldiers and whatever not. We say that's the last resort, right? When all diplomatic kind of attempts fail, when Mara failed to persuade the Buddha, and sometimes we may see some drama. He sent his soldiers, the demons try to attack the Buddha. So what are actually these soldiers? Okay, let's go to the next slide. Sensual passions are your first army. Your second is called discontent. Your third is hunger and thirst. Your fourth is called craving. Fifth is sloth and drowsiness. Sixth is called terror. Your seventh is uncertainty, hypocrisy, and stubbornness. Your eighth, gains, offerings, fame, and status, wrongly gained, and whatever would praise, self, and disparage others. That Namuchi is your army, the Dark One's commando force. A coward can't defeat it, but one having defeated it gains bliss. So Mara, using all the persuasion, is actually trying to instill all this uncertainty and fear and so on, craving. So the Buddha is able to overcome all these armies of Mara. Okay, next slide. Okay, then the Buddha continued talking. Do I carry munja grass? I spit on my life. Death in battle would be better for me than that I defeated survive. Munja grass, if I'm not wrong, is in the seed, the grass mat. So basically, he's not leaving the seat, he's not carrying the seat, he's not escaping, he continues to sit there. Seeing the bayonet force on all sides, the troops, Mara along with his mount, I go into battle. May they not budge me from my spot. That army of yours, that the world with its devas can't overcome, I will smash with discernment. So they talk about the devas can't overcome all this temptation. That's why they're still stuck in samsara. Making my resolve mastered, mindfulness well established, I will go about from kingdom to kingdom, training many disciples. They, heedful, resolute, doing my bidding, despite your wishes, will go where have gone. There's no grief. So he has the resolve, right, to discover the truth and teach to many, many disciples. Okay, next. Okay, so that's the so-called the story of confronting Mara. So now we're going to do a bit of comparison of these so-called Buddhist stories that you might have heard that is not really in the scriptures. Okay, so the first point. At the time of renunciation, when Mara is representing as trying to persuade the future Buddha to return home on the ground that he would in 7 days become a universal monarch, universal king. So sometimes you might see stories of Mara tempting the Buddha. If you go back, all the riches will be yours. The whole world will be yours, offering this kind of temptation. So which did not happen. So the suttas did not mention this. So the sutta only mentioned, ask him to go back and perform some religious rites and enjoy life. So the second point, during the period of austerity, when the future Buddha was in a very weak condition, then Mara approached, urging him to give up the struggle. So some stories believe Mara approached the Buddha multiple times, even so-called before the eve of enlightenment, which is not true. So this is only on the eve of enlightenment. On the eve of the attainment of Buddhahood, when Mara is said to have come with his hosts and challenged the future Buddha's right to his seat, this is the occasion of the great victory over Mara, symbolizing the enlightenment. So most stories will tell you Mara will challenge the seat of enlightenment. The Mara will say, okay, the seat belongs to me, you cannot sit here. Then the Buddha will contest, saying that the seat belongs to him because he has perfected the perfections, the dana parami especially. Okay, next slide. So this is the one. There's no reference to either the 10 squadrons of Mara or the marching armies in the form of the recollection of the 10 perfections, paramita, by the future Buddha. Nor is the question of the right to the seat raised or the earth summoned as a witness. So some temples have carvings of this lady. If you look at the picture on the right, the lady We call this the earth goddess, coming up and rinsing the hair, and lots of water come out and flush this so-called Mara's army away. Right, so that's the so-called folk story, not in the scripture, but it might have a symbolic meaning in meditation. So if you interpret it as flushing down defilements, and this might make sense. Then last one, during the 4th week after the enlightenment, when Mara is presented discouraging the Buddha from preaching, if you have realized the safe path to immortality, go your way alone by yourself. Why do you want to admonish others? It is when Mara failed in this effort that his 3 daughters, Tanha, Arati, and Raga, stepped in. So sometimes, I'm not sure whether you watched The Little Buddha by Keanu Reeves. They talk about the 3 daughters of Mara tempting the Buddha right early on. Whereas in the suttas, the 3 daughters appeared probably 7 years after the Buddha got enlightened. And it was the first time the Buddha met the 3 daughters. So it didn't happen right after the Buddha got enlightened, or before even. Okay, next. Okay, so this is the table of comparison. We shall talk more on the next lesson. Yeah, so next lesson would be July. Which date again, Terence?
After
16, on the 16th July.
Yeah, after 9,
okay.
16.
All right, okay. So the next lesson will be 16 July because we are going to have a retreat. So today will be the so-called last lesson before we carry on this heavy topic 7 weeks after enlightenment. Okay, so we end the theoretical sharing and we open the ground to Q&A. Any questions?
Hey, Bante, I have a question.
Yep.
So regarding the part of Mara trying to persuade Buddha go back to the life and just perform like some fire ritual or that, because he knows that I'm assuming that he knows that all those rites and rituals are fruitless, then does that mean that actually Mara also has a degree of wisdom? That means I'm guessing he knows that it's not so beneficial or helpful.
Yeah, that's his whole purpose. He wants to control beings in samsara. He doesn't want people to escape. So that's why that so-called persuasion.
So does that mean that actually he has some degree of wisdom also to know that actually like those rites and rituals are kind of like meaningless?
Yeah, he probably have great amount of intellect, a great amount of to some degree we said merit, because to be born in that Mara's realm, that's the highest sensual realm, highest sensual realm. So they have this very great perception. And also it is believed that this Mara have great psychic abilities also. So probably he can use the mind to create fear and stuff like that.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? Any questions? Okay, no issues. Then we go for a 5-minute break. Then we come back for the guided meditation session. Yeah? So see you all later.
Bante want to ask Bante.
Okay.
Just now the 3 Mara's daughter came after 7 years of Buddha's enlightenment.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow. Mm, okay. What I heard, Bante, came like just after Buddha enlightenment.
Yeah.
Actually, Mara don't know Buddha's enlightenment already. So actually, the purpose is Buddha not to reach enlightenment. But if after 7 years, I don't know why Mara feel like it's enlightenment already. Don't know.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah. So there's just a comparison between our common, we call it the post-canonical version that we are familiar with. A lot of this becomes like a folk story, very dramatic and entertaining when it talks about this enlightenment phase. Lots of these dramas and these daughters and the soldiers and the armies, very exciting. So they make the story as interesting as possible. But in the suttas, it's not the case. So the daughters only came like 7 years after the Buddha got enlightened.
So actually, Mara sent the 3 daughters.
No, Mara didn't send the 3 daughters in after the 7 years, because Mara, after trying to do all kinds of tricks to the Buddha, got very upset and tired. So the 3 daughters saw what happened to their father, very upset and tired, very dejected, disappointed, then decided to try their luck. Try their luck.
So what is the purpose, Bante?
To succeed where Mara failed.
But I mean, Buddha enlightenment already, is it? So
Yeah. So it's their job to
they
test.
don't know or what?
Yeah, it's their job to test. So yeah, it's possible that the devas may not know, because like when we talk about the austerities of this ascetic Gautama, when he was like about to die, very skinny, some of the devas think that, oh, he reached enlightenment already. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So the devas' perception may not be that accurate.
Okay.
But in this particular context, Mara and his daughters knew that the Buddha attained enlightenment, so they tried all means to test waters. Yeah.
So actually, they know Buddha enlightenment, but they still want to test.
Yes.
Oh.
Hmm.
Okay, Bante, thank you so much.
Okay. No problem. Okay. Anyone else? Any issues, questions? If not, we can start the meditation session, guided session. So you find a comfortable posture, make sure your back is upright and the rest of the body relaxed. Okay, so we'll attempt to do the breath meditation and see how far we can go. So we're going to relax the whole body. And by feeling the sensations of the body, we call this mindfulness of the 4 elements: earth, fire, wind, water sensations. Anything hard and soft, that's the earth element. And hot and cold is the fire. Wind is the fast, slow movements. And water is the moist or dry sensations. So basically, whatever sensation appear, we make peace in them, wish them well and happy. So in all those sensations, sometimes they are pleasant feelings, sometimes they are unpleasant feelings. We just make peace with them, wish them well and happy. Okay, so now if you find your mind relatively calm, we can kind of zoom in to the breath body, basically the area of attention where you feel the in and out breathing. It could be the nostril area, or let's say if a blocked nose or you're wearing a mask and you might feel the abdomen. So basically any part of the body where there's in and out breathing. And once you have determined that particular area, we try not to get distracted, try not to switch around, get distracted, because we need to be quite secluded from this sensuality. It means quite secluded from the sense distractions. Okay, so once you determine we are going to watch in and out breathing, let it be your natural reflex action. No need to control them. Let it breathe in and out by itself. So we do the same kind of Dhamma value addedness to the routine. We add the right thought. So whenever it's inhalation, we wish the breath well. Exhalation, wish the breath happy. So that's part of the finding rapture in the breath. So make the breath pleasant as possible. Inhale well, exhale happy. So this is very restricted, just to the breath. We are not targeting to all beings. Inhale, wish the breath well. Exhale, wish the breath happy. So this is the minimum rate of reflection. Anything slower than that, high chance of daydreaming. It's either we have skillful thoughts or unskillful thoughts. If we kind of do nothing and autopilot, then that is called unskillful thought. And the mind will naturally cling to the so-called next strongest stimuli, and it will kind of proliferate from there. So every moment, intentionally generate right thought, wish the in and out breath well and happy. And then you can see how far can the mind settle down. So this settling of the mind is this settling of this craving fabrication and mental fabrications. So usually they manifest in a form of tension, which may not correspond to the area where you watch the in and out breathing. So these so-called mental fabrications will settle down somewhere. Differs from meditator to meditator. So we call this mindfulness of mind. And once this mind is kind of settled, quite settled, or the rate of settling is very negligible, and we call this steadying the mind. The mind is quite steady. And we continue to familiarize with this state. I call this the baseline emotion. Baseline as in neutral, no jhanas yet, no vipassana. So it's neutral, yeah? Emphasis is on the wishing the in and out breath well and happy. And at the sidelines, we take note of this emotion. Okay, so we make sure we fulfill two criteria. First criteria, the mind has to be calm due to the continuous right thought, wishing the in and out breath well and happy, keep labeling. We call this right effort. And the second criteria, we've taken note of this emotion, this state of mind. So in this particular state, this baseline emotion, we kind of take note of it first. Most probably it's kind of neutral. And once we have these two criteria, the mind is steady and calm. Whenever you're ready, then you can let go of this mind, renounce this state. Let go of this state. Renounce means you don't want to hold on to it anymore. And you observe what happens to the emotion or the state of mind without controlling. So if the emotion has transformed from something bland to something more pleasant, that would be the indicator for the first level of concentration. So we are going to multitask. We take note of this emotion and the wishing of the in and out breath, well and happy, for these mental fabrications to settle down again. If you find your mind quite settled down, then we can familiarize ourselves with the first level. Emphasis is on the wishing the in and out breathing well and happy. And at the sidelines, we take note of this emotion. So usually for beginners, there's no way to differentiate the jhana factors. It's a pleasant emotion as a package. Only when we kind of sieve through the different levels of concentration and we're able to kind of know the difference. So regardless of what you experience, keep on wishing the in and out breath well and happy. Continue to track the middle path, right thought, right effort, in out breath, well and happy. And one, make sure we fulfill two criteria. Two criteria. First, the mind has to be calm and settled due to the right thoughts. Second criteria, we take note of the state of mind, which is the emotion for the first level. And once we have these two criteria, then we can release the mind. So that's renouncing this first level. Let go, renounce, abandon. And we observe any changes in the emotion. And if you experience this pleasant emotion become more pleasant, then that's the indicator for the second level. That's due to the disappearance of this initial and sustained thinking factors. So we're going to multitask, take note of this emotion, this state of mind, and also simultaneously wishing the in and out breath well and happy for the mind to settle down. And if you find your mind quite settled down, then we can familiarize ourselves with the second level. Emphasis is on the wishing the in and out breath well and happy. And at the sidelines, we take note of the emotion or the state of mind. Okay, so we keep walking the middle path, wishing the in and out breath well and happy. And make sure we fulfill two criteria. The mind is calm due to the right thoughts. And we've taken note of this emotion and the second level. And once we have these two criteria, whenever you're ready, then you can release the mind. We have renounced this second level, let go the second level. And observe any change in the emotion. Okay, and if you experience a different quality of pleasant emotion, and that's the indicator for the third level of concentration due to the disappearance of joy. So this pleasant emotion consists of happiness. So you take note of this happiness and the wishing of this in and out breath well and happy, for the mind to settle down. Okay, if the mind is quite settled down, then we can familiarize ourselves with the third level. Emphasis on wishing the in and out breath well and happy. And at the sidelines, we take note of the emotion. Okay, so we make sure we fulfill two criteria. First criteria, the mind is calm and settled due to the right thoughts. Second criteria, that you've taken note of the emotion at the third level. If the mind is steady and calm, whenever you're ready, then you can let go of the third level, renounce the third level. And we observe any change in the emotion. Okay, but let's say the happiness is gone and what you have now is this like refreshing or maybe alert kind of experience. We call this equanimity. That's the indicator for the fourth level. And again, we multitask. We take note of the in and out breath, wishing it well and happy. And we take note of that emotion. And if your mind is quite settled, then we can familiarize ourselves with the fourth level. Emphasis on wishing the in and out breath well and happy. And at the sidelines, you take note of the emotion. Okay, and once we kind of fulfill the two criteria, make sure your mind is calm and settled down due to the right thought. And we take a note of this equanimity of the fourth level. We are now going to reverse order. First is familiarize yourself with these steps first. So now we go back down to the third level. Just make a wish to go back down to the third level. And as the mind descends, we observe any change in the emotion. And if, let's say, the happiness starts to resurface, that's the indicator for the third level. So we're going to again take note of this emotion and wishing the in and out breath well and happy for the mind to settle down. And once the mind is quite settled down, and again you fulfill the two criteria, you take a note of the emotion of the third level. And we're going back down to the second level. Make a wish to go to the second. And as the mind descends, we observe any change in emotion. And if you experience a different pleasant emotion, that's due to the resurfacing of joy. So now there's a combination of both joy and happiness. So we're going to take note of this emotion as a package and wishing the in and out breath well and happy for the mind to settle down. Okay, if let's say your mind is quite settled down and you fulfill the two criteria, able to remember this emotion on the second level, then we're going to make a wish to go back down to the first level. So as the mind descends, we observe any change in the emotion. So if the pleasant emotion feels more reduced or more diluted, or you feel more cluttering, that's the introduction of initial and sustained thought processes. So again, we take note of this emotion as a package and wishing the in and out breath well and happy for the mind to settle down. And if the mind is relatively calm, make sure you fulfill the two criteria. Take note of the emotion of the first level. And now we can make a wish to go back down to the baseline level, back to ground zero. And as the mind descends, we observe any change in the emotion. Okay, if you are at the baseline level, make sure everything is blend, this neutral state, no more pleasant or happy emotions. So we continue to maintain wishing the in and out breath well and happy for the mind to settle down. If the mind is quite settled down, then we can spread the awareness throughout the entire body. You can feel the fingers and toes. While doing so, you can be mindful of impermanence. Yeah. Any changes in sensations, whatever you observe, you need to label impermanence or arising and passing. So this is to understand how to transcend above the mud. So the mud are these 5 aggregates, how to cross, how to abandon these 5 aggregates, this island, and cross to another shore. So the mud will always be there. We'll always have pleasant feelings, unpleasant feelings, pain, and so on. So the whole idea is to transcend, become mindful of impermanence, mindful of impermanence, and we can grow out of the mud. So if there is detachment, there should be some kind of Dhamma joy should arise. That's indicator you're on the right track. And regardless of what you experience, keep on labeling impermanence. Keep observing and labeling impermanence. So unlike the jhanas, this insight-related joy won't last, yeah? Like for the first 2 jhanas, the joy will be present as long as you keep on maintaining the causes and conditions. The insight one, if gone means gone. So in order to re-trigger the joy, you need to increase your craving. I need to cling and go stun. But if you pass the point of this joy, the Dhamma joy, then carry on, have a calm mind, continue mindful of impermanence, and see how far can your mind detach. Okay, before we conclude this session, same gentle reminder in all the activities, standing, sitting, walking, lying down, you can be mindful of impermanence. And with that, we can gently open our eyes, formally end the session, informally generate right thought. Okay, Anumodana. Akasatha ca Bhumata Devanaga Mahirika Punyang tak anumoditva Chirang rakantu loka sasanang Etavata ca amhehi Sampadang punya sampadang Sabe deva sabe puta sabe sata Anumodantu sabba sampati siddhya. And the dedication of merits to departed. Idang me nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Aspiration. Imina punya kamena mame bala samagamo. Satang samagamo hotu. Yavani bana patiya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And we end off by bowing to the Buddha 3 times. First bow. Second bow. Third bow. Okay, so last advertisement for the retreat. Any announcements from Terence? No? Okay, then see you all back on 16 July.